everyone. Hi, I am Preksha Kaparwan. So the image you see in the background is John McCarthy. He is the father of AI. AI that you know today did not start just in 2022 when you started using generative AI apps like ChatGPT for the GPT-4 models and the models before that. It started way back when it was being done in closed silos, research councils where people were trying to figure out, the researchers were trying to figure out how to make AI or the computer intelligent. So intelligent that you are able to make them, you are able to use them to help you create the projects you create today. So AI did not just happen now, it has been happening for years. Me and my team has been researching on AI for almost 10 years, and we produced our first model, our foundational model, almost 6 years back. No one knew about it. No one believed that AI could work. And at that time, there was a use case of oncology where cancer cells are being detected by using AI, and the machine was trying to give an output based on all the data, all the those lab cell reports, by judging that if the next cell, the next report that is being given is cancerous or not. Now, seems like such a huge thing for a machine to do, right? Something that doctor takes years to learn, something that medical advisor researchers take years to learn how to identify and how to predict the possibility of cancer in someone. Now, AI, artificial intelligence, seems like such an amazing thing. It feels like I can use it to create an AI avatar of myself. I can use it to create my own voice. I can use it to replicate my own behavior, create a chatbot, create an agent that can emulate my behavior, right, and can talk to you. But the problem started to become bigger and bigger when people started noticing the hallucination nature of generative AI. So it started becoming difficult for people to use AI when they started noticing hallucination. The problem with AI, where it likes to create, likes to imagine. Generative AI is where algorithms are trying to create complex decisions based on neural network and what they have been trained on to create. Now, the problem with that is it is a dreamer. It's trying to figure out what is the next step in the process, what is the intent based on the previous word, and what should be the next word. This is not only limited to the textual, but also visual, video, and audio files, right? And I'm sure a lot of you must be using AI to complete your projects. And that's amazing that it is coming to the masses. It's not now just given to a chosen few for the power users of technology, but available to everyone to use at a level where a school kid can start creating their answers. And that scares a lot of people, especially because there's no way to validate if the answer is correct or not. And I'm sure you must have had personal experience when you have asked a question and without giving complete information, it has still created something for you. Let's say you're trying to summarize a project where you are trying to create a water purifying system and maybe give a summary to your submissions in college. But then before you could complete your question to GPT-4 model, you have just still asked the question. You have still like pressed enter and started generating the answer for you. Now at that point, the problem is you did not give the complete information, and yet it was imagining. Yet it was trying to understand what your next step could be, what you might want to learn, right? Then what is the next step? You will go and correct it. Okay. So once you correct it, you will see another result which will be a little better than before. Now, up till 2023 December, the answers were half correct, half imagined. Validations were required, and codes were specially generated wrong. And that's why there were the new models were focusing more on logical reasoning, arithmetic, and coding. Now, interpretation that came out this July were giving much more accurate result. But because everything you generate still is going to train the entire model. That means if you are generating wrong answers, it still is going to train the actual model. So within a month, within from July to August, the accuracy of answers decreased. So what could be the solution for that? What could be the solution for making sure that enterprises or people who are making multi-million dollar decisions are not led in a wrong way, right? Because you do not want AI just for entertainment. What's the point of training such a huge model or creating small snippets of model which is a probabilistic model? So in that case, there comes deterministic model. It is a very logical, analytical model which is supposed to create logical answers based on the algorithms, arithmetic algorithm which has been fed. How it should create a code, what are the syntax of the code, and how it can be more guided. So that means we are also eliminating the factual errors that sometimes you see in example like this, where if you can read the last line, it says, can you form a sentence so that the fourth word begins with a Y? Now, this model has completely ignored user's demand and has created something just to fulfill the answer, just to give you something. That never happens in a deterministic model and analytical model. What happens there is, if it's not sure what the answer is, it will not give you an answer. It will tell you that we are not aware. I am not aware of this. This is new to me. Can you teach me? Now, that's the problem we were not able to see till last year. But enterprises in US were avoiding using generative AI technologies like Mistral, Falcon, GPTs, and Gemini, Llama. They were trying to avoid using the probabilistic model. Now that sounds like a concept that has just aroused, but it has been there for ages, because when the evolution of AI started, it started from a very simple, logical manner, if then else statements, right? So the idea was, how do we convert those simple statements into a self-containing agentic model? Like, what do we do? How do we write the code? How do we create the domino effect in algorithms so the logical solutions come out instead of gibberish that is being produced sometimes? I wouldn't say that like these models are not important. They are very important. They are creative. They let you think beyond what you're already thinking. So if you're writing a story, it can help you complete a story. If you are coloring a picture, it will help you color the picture completely in a nicer way. Sometimes it can also be disastrous. It's not your image sometimes, but that's okay. It's learning, right? But do you think a CFO who's making multi-million dollar decisions every day can afford misinformation? Let's say if I'm being given an insight that sales for a certain region has increased by 3% due to some seasonality. Okay, this is a good information, it's a good insight, but a regular probabilistic system might add the seasonality is due to local festivals that are in this area, or disaster that happened there, or the weather was not good, or because market conditions were a certain way or something, right? Now the problem with that is that a CFO cannot take decisions based on what the weather is like, because there's no certainty how it's going to change. What's the next thing? I can even be reading the weather report, but that means that my data is not secure. And if the data is not secure, that would mean that I am not secure as a company. So as a CFO, if I'm putting my company at that kind of risk, that's problem number one. Second, what if those numbers are not right? What if, and you have seen that when you are generating a code, a Python code, in the end, it will add something extra sometime, a little spice of its own, right? That means you cannot use that code immediately. And every time you ask a question, there is a different answer. So there is no, one, the accuracy is a challenge. Second, the consistency is a challenge. So you're not going to get the accurate result every time. And if it has to be an agentic autonomous system, that means that if this row starts question, this row has an answer on which it has to act on. If this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and then this is wrong. So it is an effect that will cascade to multiple levels, and autonomous machinery would fail by itself. And this absolutely means that we need accuracy right from the beginning. a number that we can trust. So if I am taking a decision that based on whether I'm going to sell umbrellas in Jaipur, where usually it wouldn't rain, and my weather app says it wouldn't rain today, but it did. That means my today's assessment would be wrong tomorrow. But when it comes to deterministic model, we are looking at years of accurate data with a probability of almost 73% of it being correct. That means that whatever number is being shown to me, I as a human am able to take a decision based on actual accurate data. I am not being misled, first of all. I am not being misled to make a decision which may hamper the sale of my company. And there have been examples like the one you can see on the screen right now, and there are more, where the biases were visible in hiring process. There were actual figurative difficulties that people have seen. There are actual decisions being made where millions of dollars were lost on recommendation engines by some of the most popular OTT platforms. So when you see the fault, so when you see the problems with autonomous vehicles or the camera vision kind of systems, that still is more accurately predicted by probabilistic systems. But when it comes to actual numbers and analytics, where decisions have to be made based on insights, it is a huge challenge. Because one side you are trying to figure out how do we save lives. Second place, you're trying to figure out how do we sustain the economy, because as everyone is using a system like this, which is giving a false information, that means we are not going to arrive on a sustainable economic system. So this is a very good example where Zillow is a very popular house selling website, which has overestimated house values, and that turned into a disaster for them, where they had to lay off a lot of people because they could not figure out the economic viability of those decisions in the company. So now I'm not saying that the inaccuracies, the security risk, the use case selection, these challenges exist today. They have been existing for years, okay? And since they've existed for years, a lot of the solutions were aimed toward that. It's still not very out in the open. It's still not available to everyone. You especially won't see it because to masses, it won't make sense. You don't need it. There are expensive solutions. This is what I was talking about earlier, that there are different levels of AI, right? So the first solution was a reactive one, the rule follower. That is what a deterministic AI has been based on. When you look at a very logical solution based on accurate coding interpretation, that becomes your insight that people should trust and then they can trust. What you masses deal with is the limited memory, the generative AI, the probability system. And then you have theory of mind, which is an empath. It can kind of emulate your emotions, take human level decisions. And then they are self-aware super AI, and which is kind of the movies that you have been watching, Her, Transformer, and so many other movies, right? So what I'm saying here is that it's not bad that you have a probabilistic system. The part is you need to know where to use it. And in this year, in 2025, we will have a very defining AI age where we'll realize what are the systems best suited for what kind of work. Because in 2024, we have tried using probabilistic for everything, right? Whatever we could get hold of, we have tried using probabilistic systems. But now it's time for a more focused approach where we can focus on actual business use cases which generate money for the maintenance of the maintenance and research of the companies which are creating these models, and for the well-being of the enterprises which will use this model and make it a functional system in the society. Because AI is going to be in our society's fabric for a long time, and if used correctly, it is going to create so much value that in next 5 years we will see the major changes in our lifestyle and how we educate our children, how we grow our society, and how we lead a quality life. Thank you.